I never believed a single photograph could destroy 12 years of marriage, until I found one.
I never believed a single photograph could end 12 years of marriage. Not a fight, not a confession, not a text message, just one still frame hanging quietly on a wall. But that night, everything changed. My name is Daniel. I'm 38, and for more than a decade, I loved Claire with a steady kind of devotion, the kind that didn't need fireworks or constant butterflies to feel real. Our life was built on routine and familiarity, early mornings, school lunches, tired evenings, shared laughter over things only we understood. It was the kind of life you think is safe, the kind of life you think betrayal can't slip into. But small cracks appeared long before the picture. Late nights at work, distracted smiles, her phone lighting up with messages she'd quickly hide, hugs that felt polite instead of warm, conversations that lasted seconds instead of minutes. I wanted to believe she was just tired from work, from stress, from life. But a man who loves deeply feels the difference when he stops being loved back. One Thursday, the kids were with their grandmother, and the quiet of the house felt heavier than usual. Claire was in the shower, humming softly, too softly. Something in her tone was off, like a melody forced instead of free. I went to the hallway to look through our old photo albums. Maybe I wanted to remind myself of who we used to be. Maybe I wanted to reassure myself that all my doubts were just paranoia. But then I noticed it. A new picture on the wall. A small framed photo I had never seen before. At first glance it looked harmless, a smiling couple in a park. But Claire wasn't in the frame. Instead, my eyes zeroed in on a detail I couldn't ignore. A man holding hands with someone beside him. A hand delicate, familiar resting on his shoulder. Fingers intertwined intimately. I knew that hand. I had held it 1,000 times. My chest tightened as I flipped the frame over. A date was written on the back. Last week, when she said she'd been working late. My breath left me all at once. I didn't shout. I didn't grab the frame and smash it. Instead, I placed it back gently, as if touching something that used to matter but no longer belonged to me. The truth didn't hit me like lightning. It seeped into me like ice, slow and paralyzing. Everything I had ignored suddenly made sense. Her distance, her late nights, her silence in bed, her coldness disguised as exhaustion. The picture had done what my heart had been begging me to see for months. The marriage I believed in was already gone, and Claire had just stepped out of the shower. I heard her keys drop onto the kitchen counter, followed by her usual hummed tune, the one I used to find so comforting. Now it just felt like a lie. "Daniel, you home?" she called out. Her voice had warmth in it, but it was the kind of warmth you fake when you hope no one notices the cracks. I didn't answer right away. I just stood in the living room, staring at the floor, my hands cold. When she entered, she smiled automatically. But it faded when she saw my face. "What's wrong?" she asked, her voice laced with a careful sort of concern. I didn't speak. I simply lifted my hand and pointed toward the hallway. Her eyes followed my gesture, her steps slowed. Her breath hitched, and then she saw it, the picture, the hand. The truth. Her face froze, like someone had hit pause on her expression. Her lips parted, her eyes widened, her body went still. Not with innocence, with guilt. "Daniel, I can explain," she whispered, the words barely audible. But we both knew the truth didn't need her explanation. It was already hanging on the wall for both of us to see. "No," I said softly. "You don't need to." Anger didn't rise in me. The urge to shout didn't tempt me. Instead, a strange calm settled over me, heavy but clear. Because for the first time in a long, long time, I finally understood where I stood. She reached out slightly, her fingers trembling. "Daniel, please, let me talk." I shook my head. "What's there to say?" Her tears began to fill her eyes, but even they felt too late, like a fire alarm going off after the building has already burned down. "You lied to me," I said quietly. "You lied with your time, your smile, your silence?" She swallowed hard. "I made a mistake. As if betrayal was just a wrong turn on the way home. "You didn't just make a mistake," I said, my voice steady. "You dismantled us piece by piece quietly so I wouldn't hear it breaking." She flinched, her face tightening with guilt. "I still love you," she whispered, but the words didn't reach me. Not anymore. Love without honesty is nothing. Love without loyalty is just a story we tell ourselves to avoid confronting the truth. And I had spent far too long believing a story that wasn't real. I looked at her, truly looked at her, maybe for the last time. The woman I had promised my life to. And all I saw was a stranger who had built a different life, one that didn't include me. "What are you going to do?" she asked, her voice cracking. I took a deep breath, the air in the room feeling thin. "I'm going to pack a bag," I said. "And then I'm going to leave." She started to sob, then real, wrenching sounds of grief. But it wasn't grief for us. It was grief for being caught. "Please, don't do this," she pleaded. "Think about the kids." "I am thinking about them," I replied, my voice firm. "I'm thinking about what they deserve. They deserve a father who isn't being lied to, and a mother who is honest." This isn't it." I walked past her into our bedroom. The room where we had shared so many dreams, and started pulling clothes from the closet. Each item felt like a memory I was discarding. The shirt I wore on our anniversary. The sweater she bought me for Christmas. With every piece I packed, I was letting go. Claire stood in the doorway, watching me, her face a mess of tears and regret. "Don't I get a say in this?" I stopped and looked at her. "You had your say every night you came home late? You had your say with every text you hid. You had your say when you hung that picture on our wall? This is just my response." I zipped my bag and walked back towards the front door, not looking at her, not looking at the pictures on the wall. I couldn't, they weren't mine anymore. "Where will you go?" she asked, following me. "I don't know yet," I admitted. "But it will be somewhere I can breathe again." At the door, I paused, my hand on the knob. For a second, I almost turned back. 12 years is a long time. It's a history. It's a life. But then I remembered the feeling of seeing that picture, the cold, suffocating certainty. And I knew I couldn't go back. I couldn't unsee what I had seen. I couldn't unknow what I now knew. "Goodbye, Claire," I said, without turning around. And then I opened the door and walked out into the night, leaving behind the life I thought was mine. The door clicked shut behind me, a final, quiet sound that echoed the end of everything. I didn't know what the future held, but for the first time in months, I felt like I was moving toward a truth instead of running away from one. And sometimes that's all the hope you need. If you've ever been through a moment that changed everything, you know that the journey forward isn't easy. But you're not alone. There are resources that can help you navigate these difficult times and find your footing again. Remember to be kind to yourself. Thanks for listening.